on this episode of Bot vs. Con.
Welcome back, Bot vs. Con fans. As always, I'm Bobby the Bot.
And I'm James the Con, and this is Bot vs. Con, where your voice is heard.
And today we're going to be hearing the voice of somebody different. We are bringing in Logan, who's the VP of Sales for Robosen. So I'm really looking forward to this. What about you, James?
Yes, this is going to be very exciting, so stay tuned.
This is Bot vs. Con. Make sure to subscribe and consider becoming a member.
And we're back, and welcome to the show, Logan. How's it going?
Good. Thanks for having me, Bobby and James.
Yeah, definitely. Welcome back. I know we had you on last year, so good to see you again in LA, where we first met, and see you again.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Great show. Good job with the show, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate it, and really thank you for coming on. I think this is going to be very interesting, and it's always good to talk to people.
Hopefully.
It's always good to talk
Hopefully
to
I'm
people.
Interesting to you guys. We'll see.
Oh, well, you definitely are.
Yeah. There's been a lot of hype going on. So before we get into what was just released, if we could, let's just do a little bit of a background on Robosen for those who might be new to it. Which you had to be under a rock somewhere because you guys are everywhere. But let's talk about a little bit about the company as a whole. So I guess I'm looking off to the side for all my questions. So I guess something that I've wanted to know, how do you guys do, it's like you have these robots, the AIs in there, it's a really cool feature, and then you guys are associating it with Transformers, which is a cult favorite, a fan favorite. Like how does that work? How does that come about? You got these voice actors from 40 years ago doing these voices. How does that come about?
Well, so from screen to reality was the slogan that we initially had come up with as our marketing team. So from screen, what you and I have grown up on, whether it is this property called Transformers or could be Buzz Lightyear, could be whatever it is, our goal is to have the most authentic experience you've ever had with a character that you've loved. And the only time to do that, or the only true way to do that, would be everything authentic. So even Peter Cullen being inside of it. And then beyond that, not just taking lines from what Peter did in the classic movies, but to re-record and rewrite and create brand new audio. And so that's what we've done. When we first started the company, and our founder is a tech guru. He's a kid at heart, and he's somebody that wanted a real transformer. He wanted this thing to actually do what we've all grown up with. And so we created a robot that kind of emulated it. It's our K1 and our T9. Our T9 robot that was it kind of stands up and it transforms from almost like a battle tank looking thing and stands up. It doesn't really transform. It does, but it doesn't. And the whole idea was maybe one day, Hasbro and Transformers will want to work with us. And then it happened. They said, this is incredible. Can you do an Optimus Prime? And we're like, actually, we already did. And it worked. And would you like to partner with us? And they said, wow, you guys actually did it. You created something that everyone's always wanted. And here we are today, fast forward 15 years from the company start to 5 years ago almost when we launched Optimus Prime. So yeah, hopefully that answer is good.
Yeah. Well, I find that very interesting. A quick side note. So you guys already had the Optimus ready? You were hoping that they would come to you, or did you have to? This
predates me. I've been with the company 5 years. I don't want to say we went ahead and we built it and crossed our fingers, but our aspiration was always that. And so that 100% is what we walked in saying, yeah, listen, we can do this. We'd like to do it with you guys. So, yeah.
Very interesting. Well, this is kind of another tangent. So what is the most challenging part of developing these robots that are functional but still character accurate? Is there any...
Yeah, no, we get that a lot, and actually we get criticism in a good way because we have a very passionate and authentic seeking audience and fan base that derives from Transformers. We're just a part of it, right? So the Transformer fan base, people listening on this, know and love that character. And so that character needs to be true and anything that we build needs to be true to that character, right? And so, we've gotten negative feedback, which whatever we've heard about it from Grimlock being the size that he is compared to maybe Megatron or Optimus, and Optimus and Megatron being somewhat the same size, even though Megatron's like about a half an inch or an inch taller. But Grimlock is actually shorter than the two other flagship. And so, to your question, the challenge is how do we keep it in the hemisphere of affordability? And when you build something and you build it to where you're like, all right, here's the scale, the size, and even the shipment, because all of a sudden you're just getting UPS rich, and we're all paying them. And so the goal is that we make something attainable as we can. We've obviously heard that, hey man, it's too expensive. It's like, well, it needs to be authentic. It needs to be intriguing. It needs to work. And that's usually why it's expensive, that technology. So long story short, making it true to the size is going to be the most difficult thing, honestly, to keep it within that price point. And then our patents within our servo motors, I mean, those things are only certain sizes, right? So then you build something that's 8 feet tall, or not even 8, like 4 feet tall or 3 feet tall, which maybe Grimlock should have been about 3 feet tall, right? Where everything else is 20 inches. The motors are going to be way different. It'll just add way too much cost. So
interesting.
Yeah, that is something that comes up all the time. I think even when before I got a chance to meet you, I can't remember who the gentleman was. I know he's no longer there, but when he was talking about all the servos and everything that went into the Grimlock, that's what made me pick up the Grimlock or decide to pick it up was because of the technology on the inside, not so much the size on the outside.
Yeah, exactly. And if you can kind of get past, unfortunately, the size difference and just pierce through that and go, you know what, let's get past this and then appreciate it 100% where you did. The technology and the capability that we brought to even that character. I mean, it's the first bipedal dual form bipedal robot ever made, where it's like, it goes from one form to the other, transforms and walks on either form, dinosaur or robot. So we're proud to do that. And then on our Bumblebee, we brought in some new technology there as well with our rear servo or hub servo, which actually folds the wheels in as it transforms. And so it's not just a static wheel, it's actually a movable wheel. So we've got some new technology in that one.
It's funny you bring that up because that was actually going to be my next question. With the technology that I've seen the video on the Bumblebee. Hopefully you can share it if you're want to do that. But look at that!
It's right here.
Oh, okay, yes.
Let me see. I'm going the opposite way. Yeah, so I've got that blur in the background, but you could see where is he?
That's big.
There he is. Yeah, it's good size. I'll switch them on. This is my personal one from our recording, and you guys might recognize that signature. That's Dan. So Dan and I were in studio, and back to the authenticity. I've had the pleasure of being in sales and marketing and being in Los Angeles where our corporate is, and being around where a lot of these voice actors are because of being in LA, to go in the studio really for every launch and being a part of every single launch. So know each of those character actors very well. Frank, we were in studio together, Peter, Dan, Greg. So yeah, stay in touch with them too. It's a fun thing to be friends with them now and have worked with them. Dan and I were in studio doing this. Usually it's about 6 months prior to our launch. We were recording and building these out. So he's switched on, and that's the top, by the way. This is where you would open them up.
Okay.
Let me see. Where are we going? There we go. Open them up. Boom. Slides right back in there. So this is actually, and this is the other kind of fun thing, like, this is a prototype. Like, no one ever would be able to buy this. This is a P1, we call it, product. So it doesn't even have that paint grade finish that we did for the final production, the automotive grade finish. This is just a matte finish, kind of just to get the look and feel. So we use this in studio so that the actor knows what we're talking about, so they could see kind of the dimensions. And then we do this for storyboarding and creating our commercials and everything else. So but yeah, you can see the scale. This is to VW's liking, by the way. They were very excited about this. this is our first product that we had a dual license. So we licensed obviously with Hasbro, and then licensed with VW. So let me see if he doesn't do much because he's a prototype. Hey, Bumblebee, transform. So you stand up. Let me see.
There he is.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's chest plate right there. You can open that up, and that's where you turn them on, or switch them on, and then back here, fun little Easter egg, is where you'd plug him in. Is the back of his extra wheel back there. So yeah.
So yeah, you just hit me. You just made me think of a couple of questions. So James, if you don't mind, I'm going to take off for
Go ahead.
a couple. So I'm gonna backtrack. So you talked about the where you plug it in. I know the Optimus eventually came out with a stand to keep them charged. Does that stand work with any of the others, or will they be coming with stand or like future releases of new stands for them? Or
Yeah, it's a good question. The goal is that each of our robots on the flagship size, which is really where we're always going. I know that we have an elite, but flagship's always going to be where we're going moving forward.
yes,
You can fit Megatron on it. We can get you an adapter, I believe, or it comes with an adapter when you buy it. I think it comes with both. It's just the size of underneath here that kind of holds him in place and kind of snaps him in. Because as he's moving, if he's doing all this kind of stuff, he can slide off eventually and fall forward. Obviously, that's not our goal. I don't know. I should know this, but yes, I believe Bumblebee will work on that. I will personally find out for my own sake.
okay, yeah, because that it just popped into my head when you were talking about that, because I did end up buying the stand as well. Then going back a little bit further about what you said, working with Hasbro and VW or Volkswagen. Were there any limitations, or were there things that they were like, "Hey, no, you can't do this," or they were like, "No, you got to do this"?
I mean, I don't think it's bad to say, but we really didn't have the collaboration that we do with Hasbro, with VW. I think it's more of an approval process, and obviously we made it through the approvals. But I don't have much to say in the VW relationship other than, they obviously know our product. They have some of it, and they approved it. So
yeah, that works.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry.
So the kind of piggybacking off of the Bumblebee, it's the newest one. Which one is the most complex to date?
Oh man, Grimlock is going to be the most complex. Dual form and bipedal on both forms. It was very, very difficult because you got to have axis and gyros. You got to have to where it knows its balance and doesn't fall over. That's always been the challenge. I've seen videos that, obviously I'm not sharing on this, but like pre-production factory videos, things that we as a team kind of distribute internally. And I'm watching things, on the production side as we're gearing up and getting ready to go into mass production. But you see these robots fall down, you see them kind of go through stuff, but that's where, the technology that we've put into these now allows it to stand up, allows it to know its balance. And Grimlock's the one that had the most components, most motors, and axis control or axis gyro. Sorry, I'm like mixing up a couple things over here. But yeah, all the gyro on the inside of it.
Mm-hmm. And from you talked about some of the complaints from fans on the Grimlock and things. I've had nothing but a great experience talking to you, for instance, very approachable and things like that at the cons. How is the kind of Robosen and the community, of Transformers? How do you guys engage? Is there, do you guys ever take feedback from the fans when it comes to maybe, your next or a possible future release or anything like that? Or is it something that you guys are already like, we have it lined up for the next, 5 years of what we're going to do?
Yes, we do take that into consideration. I think more on the timing, and really everything boils down to our partnership, obviously with Hasbro and working with them and allowing them to lead the way too, because obviously they know better than we do about Transformers, which is theirs, and you guys too. I mean, the fans know Transformers better than anybody. I mean, you guys love this franchise, which is great, and it helps us. And so, all right, see ya. Bumblebee's going to bed. Yeah, so we definitely hear you guys when it comes to the robots. And back to an initial question, I think, of like, you know, how do we decide? How do we what you know, hindrances or issues with production? I forgot the question, but essentially, every fan would want this or that or this or that. Well, technology doesn't allow us to transform that way. It's just impossible, you know. And even like to the slowest thing where we had Optimus twist. Well, he twists because ideally he would transform and look straight at you, but physically it's impossible. So we had to make it to where he twists around, which frustrated people because then they have to turn him back around, and now he's facing us. So that's been part of the rub, if you will, is trying to figure out how to make it the most authentic, straight from the cartoon and the originals, and still live in reality. And so with that, there are characters that we just never will do because it's impossible, or it probably doesn't sell that well. I think those 80 fans or 800 fans love it, but you know, we're really going after, of course, the ones where everybody's going to want to get it, people are going to want to buy it, and also allow them to collect them and then interact with them. You know, like that's our end goal, is that you want to buy them all and you want to collect them and you want to interact with these things and utilize them to the full capability.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's awesome. So this is kind of a fun question since we did talk about the community. So what's the most surprising or creative thing a fan has done with a Robosen robot?
I haven't seen much in person, but I've seen like videos or photos that have been sent. You know, people building sets, people creating actions that are fighting like Megatron and you know, Optimus kind of interacting. That, you know, we've got the ones we built inside, and then we have the download center that we build, and you guys can download them. So I know all those, but then watching what you guys build, that's always been the most fun, like having people build things that are like, you know, stretching the limits of what these things can do, of gymnastics and karate and, you know, fighting, all sorts of stuff. I've seen people build props and like all sorts of cool scenes, almost like you're watching an actual commercial or a movie, you know. So I'd say that's some of those creative people. Coloring or colorware, you know, that's I forgot the vendor, but there's a vendor who does like iPhones and iPads and all, and they paint them, or they do, it's called colorware. But people doing stuff like that, like repainting our product to their liking. And so, you know, that didn't spawn the idea, but you know, we came up with an idea years ago of doing the gold ones, and we did the gold ones based off of that. Yeah, and I have one, actually I have one right here. Yeah, let me see here. So we've got the gold one right here. I got, actually, I think one of the only ones here in the US.
Wow.
So this came about because, you know, a lot of people were like, what else can you do? How can we create new iterations of one? And this came from the Golden Lagoon episode where they fell in that Golden Lake. I forgot what it was called. What was that material they fell into?
I don't remember.
Anyways, there's a name for it. I forgot what it was. Yeah. But we did this, and I think 10 people won it globally. I'm not sure. I forgot the number.
It wasn't.
But that was a lot of fun. And you didn't win one?
No, I entered.
But that was. Yeah. Sorry. That was a lot of fun to see how we can like interact even more, and we got a lot of attention, and a lot of people loved it. So stay tuned. We might do, you know, more stuff like that.
Mm.
I just need to find the voting box and make sure that mine's in
there
and nothing else.
And rig it. Yeah, exactly.
So you spoke about like some of the commercials and stuff. That's another fun question. I've seen, you know, Prime driving by with the trailer, and I see Soundwave in one of the commercials. And
really, which one?
It's one that
one of ours.
I think so. I always see it on Facebook, so it may be unofficial, but I see like Prime driving by and Soundwave's like off to the side, and he starts shooting, and then Prime transforms, and it's almost like the commercial was dedicated to Prime, but I saw Soundwave there, and I got really excited, so I was like, oh, is this the next one? And then I think Megatron came.
Was it a Soundwave that looked like a Robosen product?
It didn't, so it was probably, so that would have, I don't want to put words in your mouth, of course, but, unless you want to spill it. But, I was like, oh, Soundwave's coming up. And then, I think Megatron came, and then I was like, okay, Soundwave's coming up again. And then Bumblebee came. So, in terms of the fan interactions in your commercials, I don't know if I should look it up, if it's official or not.
Yeah, email it to me, and I'd love to see that. Most likely, I would know if it's official or not, because being on sales and marketing, it's definitely not official. But that, to James's question earlier, it's like, that is what's amazing about our fans and Transformer fans is, you guys make some amazing shorts, you make some amazing material, and that's case in point, one of the things that are being launched, where people like bleeds reality, like, who did this? Like, is this Robosen doing that? Is that really Soundwave? Which I'd be excited too. It's like, crap, I guess we're doing Soundwave, but yeah.
Well, James, before you go into your question, since we're kind of on the subject of things and rumors and stuff like that, there's been some news that we've covered on the channel. Can you kind of share one of the things? I would love to see if we can get a thumbs up, thumbs down, or see if this is, urban legend here.
All right. Well, why don't we talk about this Bigfoot then, as Bobby called it? And that is this right here. This was leaked, I think, about a month or two ago, if it was even leaked, or if it's just, like Bobby said, a Bigfoot. People are saying that it's Robosen's version of Devastator. Do you have any comment on this?
I saw that live the same day you guys did, so that should be news to you on what I know. It does look like, obviously, something that we could, and we would design it, something like this, but it's news to me, and that's my answer.
Okay.
And
then this was also shown around, where it's a transforming scrapper. From what I read, it was like something that Robosen used to propose to Hasbro, but I could be wrong. Do you know anything about this particular figure as well?
I need to find your guys' blogs that you read on. Like, this is news to me. I should go to that news site, like, getting some really good stuff. I honestly, I can tell you, I think you showed me backstage, if you will, this video, and that was the very first time I ever saw this. So, no, that is 100% news to me. It does look like something that obviously we could produce. It doesn't mean that we're launching something like this, though.
Okay. So that's not your leg back there, then, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, not my leg. I don't own shoes like that.
All right. Well, we might just have to wait a little longer.
I wish I could give you probably the answer I know you want, but that is the answer, honestly. So,
well, it definitely helps clear up some of the speculation. So you heard it here first on Bot versus Con, that is unofficial news, and we'll try to see if we can squeak some other stuff out.
Well, why don't we get into some fan questions?
Sure.
And so Zane Bono Figures is asking, we kind of talked about this, but why are the Robosen Transformers so out of scale? If you put Optimus Prime next to Megatron, it's like he's Orion pack size. And I believe you already talked about this with the servos.
Yeah, it's a good question, and I think, again, going back to the authentic appreciation that the audience has, is it goes without saying, like, we appreciate that, and we care about that too. It's about price, it's about scalability, and somewhat feasibility. I mean, we could produce a 3-foot, 4-foot Tyrannosaurus Rex, of course, but you guys don't want to spend $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. So, which I agree, I wouldn't want to either. So.
Bobby probably would.
No, my wallet just ran out of here when you were about to show that golden Prime. It just like took off running, and it was just like, no, I'm not.
What do you think I could get for this? That's what I want to know. I'll hold on to it, but I wonder how much Merit bring it to one of the cons.
I'll make you a offer off air.
Yeah. We'll see. Put it on the forum. Let's see what everyone. Let's just get it against it. Let's see.
Yeah.
My son needs a truck. I got a 17-year-old. So
you said a 6'7", 16-year-old?
No. I said 16, but he just turned 17, so 17. Oh, okay. He's actually six. I'm 6'4". He's 6'4.5" ish. He's pretty tall. So
okay, so
no, not 6'7". That'd be really.
I know you're tall. That's why I was just like, and I heard 6 and I heard a 7. I was like, wait a minute.
We're all about 6'4". My brother's 6'6", so tall.
Yeah. So next fan question. This one came from Ryan DeBow 5298, and he says, "How do you determine what to charge for each figure?" Is the first question. So. Second is, what figures are you going to do next? And third, what figures do people ask you to do most? So I can ask them again as you answer, but the first one is, how do you determine what to charge for each figure?
The easy answer is we want to make it affordable, and you kind of see the math of where we always hover, and that's pretty much where we're always going to hover. There's no point in coming out with something that's $2,000 or $3,000. I don't see that doing that well. And I think, maybe, we sell whatever, thousands of them, but obviously it's not for everybody. So we try to keep it within that realm that you guys can do the math, you can do the blended average and see kind of where we're at. But to answer your question in the long form, it really is about parts and about, motors and about microchips. It's about all the different components that go into building something, and however complex that robot or that character is, usually dictates where that price goes. And so Megatron is far more complex than Bumblebee. And even though Bumblebee is amazing, there was a lot more that went into Megatron, which is why his price is the way it is. Plus, you got to look at weight. When you factor in weight and shipping all over the world, that also factors into it.
Making UPS rich. Okay, got it.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. So then I guess if you can answer this, I was going to ask this as well. What figures are you going to do next? We've seen Bumblebee. Can we get a hint at what might be next?
I think I'd rather answer the third question, which is the answer for the second question, which is, what does everyone usually ask for? And so I am not going to tell you guys what's next. I do have 3 or 4 robots that I know are lined up. Whether or not they all come out to fruition, I'm not sure. I know that 1 or 2 are pretty much lined up. So there's definitely more robots in the horizon. So we're not done with just Bumblebee, which we love. But the answer to the overall question is, which robots and Transformers do people ask for? Everyone asks for Soundwave. Everybody asks for, Devastator. They ask for, you're testing me in my knowledge. Right hand Megatron, I always forget his name. Starscream. I know that. And actually, I just met the main voice actor recently. Starscream, Soundwave. We've heard people ask for Sideswipe or Jazz. We've heard people ask for, like Devastator again. A lot of characters, and there's only so many we can do because of the transformation process. And then there's of course only so many that we would produce just based off of market capacity and attention to that exact character. Because James might like something where Bobby's like, nah, that's kind of like a crappy character. I don't like that one. And now James is the only one that we're like, hey, can you buy a lot of these, James? Because nobody wants to buy this thing. So so we're going to send to James whatever he recommends, and then we're going to make sure he buys them all.
I like that. That.
Long story short, really, we hear a lot about Soundwave, and we hear a lot about Starscream. We hear a lot about, some of these other car-centric characters.
Ooh, please if you do a Jazz or a Sideswipe, please get the license. If to make it authentic, that would be.
Those were Sideswipe was which one? Lamborghini, and then the other one was
the red Lamborghini Countach, and Jazz was the Porsche.
That's right. Yeah.
That would.
Yeah, we'll see.
Chef's
No
kiss.
promises.
Well, if we're giving what's it called, wants, if you do a sound wave, please make sure it has a Bluetooth speaker functionality.
Okay.
Because
Not a tape deck. You don't want to get your old MC Hammer tapes out and put that on, or New Kids on the Block.
Tapes too. If you can play tapes and you can incorporate that in there too,
that would be crazy. You got Bobby dancing. What are you dancing to, Bobby? What was your tape of choice?
Oh, when you said MC Hammer, I'm from.
Was it MC Hammer? Okay, so you did the crab.
Yeah, I had to do. I'll get and twist and all that. I just happen to be sitting.
You got those pants still? You got to wear the pants to next SpotCon.
You know what? If I could still fit them, I did have the MC Hammer pants. Yes.
Yeah, the real big balloony,
real big baggy. I had a striped suit and I had polka dots. Oh yeah, you can tell me anything.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna do that, and we're gonna have tapes, and we're gonna have him dance, and he'll do the commercial. How about that?
That sounds great.
I would actually
if we ever did it.
If you ever did, I would actually sign up.
If we ever did it,
I would actually do that. I would make a complete fool of myself to get that in person. That would be cool. I would do the commercial.
So the last fan question is from Joey Moore, YV3LO. And he's asking, where can you purchase the Optimus trailer? It disappeared like when he transformed, and he doesn't want to pay eBay prices.
Yeah, oh man, I wish I had a good answer. We are sold out. I sometimes come across some that are brand new and we could sell, and that might pop up on our site or go to like our social media. Really, the best answer is at the cons. We do go to 2 or 3 or 4 throughout the year, and we do resell returns. And a lot of times, some of the returns that come to us, there's been a joke of like, oh, my significant other got pissed off that I bought it, and they made me return it, and it's brand new. And so we take it back and we inspect it, and then we resell it. That we get that a lot with trailers, or not a lot, but I mean, when we come across trailers, we sell them out at that show. So we'll bring 10 or 20 or whatever to the show, and they're gone. So answer to that question is find your nearest con, see if we're going. Our hope is that we have a trailer there for you.
Nice. Okay, so I know we don't want to keep you all night, so we really do appreciate you joining the show. Yeah. Really, where can people find you for the next con, since we just brought that up?
I'll be at LA Comic-Con personally. Might be at San Diego Comic-Con. Might be on vacation at that time during the summer with the family. But LA Comic-Con, 100% I'll be there. So if you guys are in Los Angeles, come to the Robosen booth. I'll shake your hand, talk to you. We usually go to Toy Fair every year in New York. We also go to potentially New York Comic-Con. And then we're trying to hit up, we always go to the TFCon in Los Angeles, and we tend to try to make the other cons if possible. But usually, since we're in Los Angeles, we're at all of them.
Nice.
Okay. That makes sense. Well, do you have any last questions, Bobby?
Well, I mean, can I like twist your arm a little bit through the screen to, let you
the gold one?
Well, that too. I guess this one. When can we kind of think about seeing the next Robosen release? And we have, I guess it's a 2-part. We have all these Autobots. Can we get, and I'm speaking for James here, can we get some Decepticons? Because, Megatron's going to get his butt whooped the way it's going right now.
Yeah, no, he's definitely outnumbered 3 against 1 right now. Well, actually 3.5, because the trailer shoots at him too.
Yeah.
I don't have the exact dates and everything, but I will say, historically, I think you guys have seen us launch upwards of 2 robots a year, right? So still early in the year is my hint, and there could be something. So
awesome.
We like keeping secrets. It's fun to keep everyone second guessing.
I can tell. So
yeah,
we
I will say this. Oh. We will not disappoint you if we launch something this year. It's going to be amazing if we launch something. That's my half answer. Sorry.
I was like, maybe if we don't say anything, he'll say some more. No.
I know. I just keep talking.
I'm like, yeah.
No.
Just spill a little bit.
All
more.
done.
Okay. No. Go ahead.
All
James.
done.
I was gonna say I just have one question that, in general, is could you make a flying, like a drone?
Yeah, I mean that would be.
I don't know. You know, like if you did one of the aerial bots or Starscream or something, would it have drone capabilities or would it just roll on the ground? I don't know if you could answer it, but it might be something for the technical side. But we do get this question.
It would be. Yeah, I mean, back to price, right? What are we all willing to spend is the answer. And so I'm sure we as a company can figure out how to build something that flies, yes. And is it cost effective and feasible? Probably not on a mass scale. Yeah, probably. But the answer always goes back to also when we look at like how the character transforms. You know, you look at Megatron, and Megatron's a gun or a blaster, right? He transforms into a blaster, but we did a tank. And we're always doing G1 usually, right? But we're doing a G2 tank. Like, it bleeds and blends, and it's kind of like, well, look, what are you going to do? You're going to pick it up and then play around with this giant gun. Obviously, you could do that, but that's not what our goal was. Our goal was to make something that interacts and turns into something that you can then interact with as well. And so, if we built, let's just say, a Starscream, obviously it'd be a jet and you'd want it to roll around. It's not flying, but maybe he's rolling around. Maybe he looks like he's taking off. Who knows? I don't know. And honestly, like, I've never seen anything. I'm just actually talking to you as a sales guy. If we did something like that, drone would be amazing. It'd just be very expensive.
Yeah.
Well, as one sales guy to another sales guy, let's talk about some ROIs and some
yeah
and
we got to sell a lot of units. We got to get UPS very, very rich.
Yeah, let's see how much we have to, how many quarters we have to go up on what's out there right now to fund the next one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so stay tuned. It's early in the year. We're very proud of what we just launched. I'm touching while he's crashed out on the side over here. Very proud of what we just launched with this guy. This is going to be shipping in summerish, sometime in the summer. Get your pre-orders in now. If this is airing this week, I don't know when this is airing, we still have, I think, 10 days left of the pre-order. And you guys are going to save, I think it's $250. So you might as well, if you're thinking about it, do it now because it goes up $250. And so we have that in place for all of our fans and our early birds, we call it internally. So get your Bumblebee now. Yep, Bobby got one. And stay tuned after you've played with Bumblebee and you've interacted with all of your other Robosen robots. We'll see what's happening later in the year.
Yeah, the maneuverability of the Bumblebee is really good. I saw how it would the video for it. It looks really good how it maneuvers. So that kind of sold me.
Yeah.
On it. So you kind of get a RC.
Yeah, it's very good. He's fun. Dan and I were in the studio. He recorded like 200 plus lines, and usually we shoot for that, like so that we always have lines in the bank for when we do new actions and kind of drip it out. So yeah, I mean, he had an amazing time. It was a lot of fun to do that with him. So we have Bumblebee's fun. He's fast. He's youthful. He's everything that he was and is as a character. So
awesome.
All right. Well, thank you again for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. Answering some of the fans' questions, answering some of our questions. We really do appreciate it. You can tell I'm a fan. So hopefully we'll see you again at maybe in Chicago at TFCon or definitely next year in LA. Hopefully we can get you on the show again to talk about whatever's next from Robosen.
Yeah, let's do it. Yep.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me on the show.
Yes, thank you for coming.
See you later. Thanks.
And as always, hope you all enjoyed the interview. Till all debates are won, we will see you all next time.